Today we're going to be changing shocks and air springs or airbags. Not going to change all of them today, but I'm going to divide the video up in maybe a couple different parts. First thing you got to do is go to the truck wash or the self-serve truck wash and clean everything up that you got to be working on. Spray a little bit of penetrating oil on the front shocks. I'm not even going to do the front shocks on camera. I'm just going to show how to do it because it is absolutely nothing to it. That's in my case on this Freightliner. Now another truck might be a little different. The new shocks are going to have these little rubber washers. They're conical shaped. One goes in on each side on both ends. Well, nothing to it. Take the nut off. You don't need to jack up anything, and you pull this old one off, put your new one on the same way with your rubbers in here and out here on top and bottom. Put your nut back on. There's no outwards pressure against it. No torque specs or nothing. Just tighten the thing down until you start crushing the rubber a little bit, but not too much. And then that's good. That's all you got to do on those. Now let's go ahead and get ready to change the back ones. On this video I'm going to change one rear shock, and of course I explained how to change the front shocks, and I'm going to do a second video changing the airbags, and a third video which is going to be a little harder to do is the cab shocks. That'll be a different video because it will take a while and it's just going to be very awkward getting into where those are. Now some trucks they might be easier. On mine they're not too easy. Tell a little story. One time when I changed these shocks, I don't remember if it was the first time or the second time. I've changed them twice already, but I've had the truck a long time. One of these bolts was seized up inside this whatever you want to call this pipe here that goes through the eye of the shock. The bolt was seized in there, was not going to come out, and I wasted maybe who knows how long, maybe an hour trying to get it out, and it wasn't going to happen. So I went on and burned it out with a torch and went and bought new bolts. Went to Freightliner and found out that they wanted like $20 a piece for the bolts, and I said there's no freaking way. I took the old bolt with me, or the measurements of it, whatever I had, and I went to the farm supply store and I bought all the bolts for whatever it is, $1 a pound or 69 cents a pound, I don't know. They were grade 8 or grade 5, whatever grade I got, I don't remember. And the only difference was the color of the bolt. They were black at Freightliner, and they were like, I don't know, gold color or green color or something like that from the farm supply. So that's what's been on there ever since, and there's no reason that you can't go to a store like that if you need to replace your bolts and get them at a fair price. So I've already put penetrating oil on these. I just put it on, so they really haven't had a chance to penetrate, but if nothing else, it'll lube the threads while I take the nuts off. And let's see if they come off. Looks like I'm going to have trouble getting the bottom bolt out of the shock, and if I had room, which I do not, but if I had room, let's see, the camera's not going to fit there. Here I am on the bottom. This is the bolt that goes through the bottom of the shock, and there's not enough room to get on it straight with the air wrench. So with a swivel you lose a little power, and it's still not coming off. So what I'm going to do is take the airbag off. Since I'm changing airbags anyway, I'm going to take the airbag off. That'll give me room to just come right up from the back where the airbag is. I can just come in there with a big 3/4 inch drive, like a big torque wrench that ratchets. So it'll be like 4 foot long cheater bar in a way, and I can get these off with a 3/4 inch. With this differential housing being so close to that, there's no way, if I can't get in there with a 1/2 inch, my 3/4 will never go in there. Now on this side we got room for either the 3/4 or the 1/2 inch. There's a lot more room over here, about 6 inches more. So I can get this one. If the 1/2 inch won't get it, the 3/4 should. Well, let's go ahead and take the airbag off. Got room for that. Got a big 4 foot torque wrench on there, and I got a these are 1 1/8 bolt heads in my case, and I got this wrench hanging on here where it's going to lock up against the bottom of the U-bolts that hold everything on to the differential. Moving pretty easy now with 4 feet. It's set at 200 foot-pounds. That's where I left it when I put the head bolts in my Detroit engine a couple of years ago. And it was clicking, so it was more than 200 foot-pounds to get it loose. It was probably 300 or more. And these air wrenches, they claim to be like what? 1,000 foot-pounds. Of course, it's, I don't know why they get away with telling those kind of lies, because it's certainly, nothing could be further from the truth. There's no 1/2 inch air wrench that's 1,000 foot-pounds. Most of them are lucky to go 400, if that. My Ingersoll Rand gave up the Ghost, and it was the best one they had at the time when I bought it, probably 20 years ago maybe, I don't know, and replaced it recently with this Earthquake XT from Harbor Freight. And it's the strongest one they got, and it claims to go 1,000 foot-pounds. Of course it doesn't. There we have it. There's the bottom of it. Now all you gotta do is get the top out. I'll hammer on. I only stopped maybe half a second. Let me give it about another second. That's more than enough. Okay, now I gotta put my airbags back on, but I got some crusty stuff. It's just not smooth under here. I'm gonna knock that off of there first. This one here is not coming off with the 1/2 inch impact. I don't think the 3/4 is even going to, yeah, 3/4 might get it, but I had the 4 foot breaker bar on there, and I was standing underneath the bar with my shoulder and pushing it up with my legs, and it was just cracking and making real loud popping noises, and it was moving slightly, but it was it's not going to come off that way. So I'm going to get the torch out here and warm up that bolt, and that will break the rust loose and also make the bolt or the nut bigger so that it will start to thread off of there a little better. You guys that like to do your own work at home, if you're going to get into stuff this heavy, you really do need to have a torch, and you need to know how to use it, and a welder. I got some videos on welding a little bit, not a lot. Need to see a guy on YouTube named Welding Tips and Tricks, and another guy named Chuck E. What is it? Chuck E. And there's a number after it. I can't think of it. Chuck E. 2009, I think it is. He's pretty good. I don't really want to get this thing not really red hot. It would be red hot if I was inside, but out here in the sunlight, red hot would be too hot. So you probably won't see a glow very much, but if it was inside, it probably would be glowing. I'm just working on the nut itself. Don't really want the flame being on the paint and burn the paint off the frame. Don't want it on the tire either. Trying to keep it off of the nut too, I mean the stud, because I don't want to expand the stud, I want to expand the nut. Got away with it. We'll be able to save our bolt too. And for those of you that want to ask if a blowtorch or a propane torch, map torch, no, they will not do it. No way. They're way too slow. You'll heat up the stud as well, and it just doesn't have enough heat to get that large of a nut hot enough, quick enough to be able to break it loose. So don't even ask about that, because I'll just tell you that you didn't read or you didn't watch the movie. You were skipping through it. Shock's going to be hard to pull it sideways to get it out of the bottom, so just since you got the frame jacked up, go on ahead and push this down. And it'll come right out of there like that. Because I had to go through what I had to go through, I did go ahead and put some anti-seize on this one. The threads were kind of rotted a little bit. I'm not worried about them because it doesn't have any twisting on the threads. It's only up and down pressure on the side of the bolt. Now, I was only going to show changing one shock, but as always, if I run into something extra problem on a different shock or a different part that I only need to record one of because the truck has several on it, and if I run into something extra, then of course I'm going to record that and show that as well, what I had to do to get through it. So that's why I recorded part of this shock too with the torch.